Hello everybody, welcome back to another run around the mountain pass, where we have 11 vehicles trying to, once again, defeat that ID.R. I say once again, it is still the leader on our table after the first episode. That is quite a long time to be at the top. Let's see if any of these 11 cars have it in them. Up first is actually one of our highest PI cars, the Shelby Monaco King Cobra. This is not any ordinary Monaco King Cobra. No. This has a colossal V12 in it, making over 1,000 horsepower, and with a bit of revised tweaking from a previous model I ran quite a while ago, it has the best power to weight ratio in the game. And it is flying down the streets. That is its strength after all. Once it can put that power down, it is colossally fast. But then we have to get to the corner here. And this is where it begins to struggle, because it cannot put its power down. You have to be really careful heading up this uphill section especially, but just in general, you have to be really careful putting the power down because it spins the wheels. In order to get the best power-weight ratio absolutely possible, that means the smallest tires, because the smallest tires means the less weight. But of course, when you have the most power and the smallest tires, that does mean it's a bit difficult, and that is why it is way down, the slowest vehicle in qualifying today, because it just could not put that power down. But it is putting it down much better on this run, already in the downhill section, heading in towards the chicane, takes it, a little clip on the inside, not too bad, has to do a little bit of a big sideways movement for the Cobra, heading around just a few more corners to go, heading past the house into the bridge section. Flat out in some cars, not flat out in this. But now he has to run to the line, he floors it across the line! Up next is a very different animal. The 1985 Mitsubishi Starion Group B prototype. This was designed for the ill-fated Group B series. 350 horsepower, all-wheel drive. This thing is quite quick. Although not quite as quick in qualifying, but it was significantly more controllable, I'll add, compared to that King Cobra, but it is heading up the hill nicely here. Not quite as fast, although that is to be expected. It has just a quarter of the power, but it should be a lot nicer through these corners, a lot nicer handling. Question is, will that handling make up for the lack of power, lack of acceleration? It may have the initial run, just because the Shelby couldn't put its power down, but will that all-wheel drive system and that control be enough to put it at the top of the table? We are heading up here almost on the crest of the mountain, going underneath the gantry pretty soon. It's pretty fast. It's a Group B car, what can I say? It is only a prototype, it never got to run. Sadly, Group B was cancelled before it progressed, although it did eventually evolve into the Lancer Evolution, so there's that. We're now heading into the chicane section, very tightly, very nice, flat out through there easily. A little bit of a break and dive on. Bit of overseer four-wheel drifting going on. It is 80s suspension, 80s tires, 80s everything after all. One more corner to go. Nicely done through there. Run to the line and across the line for the Starion. We go from Group B to another rally series. Group A. The Nissan Pulsar GTI-R Group A car. Not very successful in the top tier WRC. It did win the 1992 championship in Group N, but it never achieved proper Group A success. However, it is still a 300 horsepower all-wheel drive little hatchback, so let's see how the two all-wheel drive Japanese rally cars face off against each other. Very different styles. One's a hatchback, one is a sports car, but they're both all-wheel drive, they're both turbocharged monsters, although the Group A car is a little bit more controllable. That's what the series was designed for. A bit calming down while still increasing the speeds with advancements in suspension, brakes, etc. And it is doing well up this hill. A little bit of a four-wheel drift from the car. It does not have the thickest tires in the world, but it is doing well up this hill. Heading on the downhill now. We're making good progress for the Pulsar. Absolutely lovely little hot hatch, both on the homologation versions and on the rally stages. It is such a weird car. You never think about it, but it was one of the fastest cars in its day. 0 to 60 in 5.4 seconds for the road car. It was seriously quick and often underlooked as he headed on the final corner. The Pulsar GTI-R is now across the line. Our next car is our only road car of the day, in fact, and this is a bit of an interesting one. The Lexus LFA. This is not a track-ready road legal weapon. It is not a mid-engine supercar. It is a touring car mixed with a supercar. Top speed 202, so it's definitely a supercar, but it's a bit more luxury focused. But there is nothing luxuriously focused about that monstrous V10 engine. Doesn't it sound fantastic? Truly incredible piece of engineering, the LFA. But one of the very few unsuccessful Halo cars, as it turned out. Very unfortunate in that regard, but you cannot deny the speed it has. Very impressive for... Remember, this is a GT car. It has a lot of weight. It's almost 4,000 pounds. It's the heaviest car here by far. That's not stopping it from careering underneath the gantry now, heading into the downhill section. It is going pretty well for a rear-wheel drive road car. That is quite impressive. This is on street tires. This is not on sport tires or anything. It is on street tires, and it is flying in 140. Downhill 145 for getting on the brakes. Really cutting that corner as close as he dare. Same thing with that corner, almost loses it in the wall, but he is doing good. Very fast in that final second. Hits the fence, doesn't cost too much time. The LFA's across the line. We have to travel back in time a fair bit from 2010 to the 1970s with our next car, the Porsche 917-20, aka the Pink Pig. This was a bit of a concept for Porsche with the 917. It was a combination of the long tail and the normal versions, trying to get the best aerodynamic package possible. And it's very fast thanks to that flat 12, very fast, very light. Although, as you can see, it's a bit slidey. Bit slidey indeed, thanks to those, well, 70s racing tires. They're more cross-ply rather than slicks, so it's a bit oversteer. It's a bit of a handful. You get lots of sliding around, lots of neutral steer. And that can be quite a challenge on this course. There are quite a few high-speed corners and low-speed corners as well. We got lots. This is still a rear-wheel drive, 600 horsepower, you know, sports car. Very wide over there. Just keeps on the road just about-ish. As he head underneath the gantry now. Oh, he's got a bit of a slide. Almost hits the gantry wall. Keeps it nicely under control with that little drift there. Running very nicely there. A little bit wide. Not quite the fastest line there, but what can you do with all that neutral steer just pushing you out of the line? You almost have to turn into the corner before the corner happens, so you can actually get to the corner like there. Yeah, you had to turn in before the corner, so it drags itself wide. Almost hits the thing there, almost hits another wall, almost hits another wall on the grass, and he is across the line. Ken Block always shows up with something interesting every year, and this might be his most tame so far, if I'm honest. The Hoonigan Escort Group A Special. Again, another Group A rally car, but this one has been heavily modified even more than the rally car. 600 plus horsepower, 600 torque, all-wheel drive. This thing is a true weapon. And while sure it's supposed to be sliding around going crazy, it is being very sensible up this hill. And it's fitting it is his most sensible car compared to the Hoonigan with 1,400 horsepower, the Hoonigan truck with almost 1,000 horsepower. This thing with a measly 620, that is nothing compared to those, but yet it is still going very well with this course. A little bit of oversteer there, easily controlled. He wants to impress, show that he can go around corners sensibly well. Oh, a little bit of understeer heading into that downhill hairpin there, a little bit of understeer on the first entry there, but all in all, it is doing pretty darn good heading into the switchback. Nicely done. Just a few more corners to go. Will the Escort be able to do as well as its other cars, considering it is much more controllable than others? But we will have to wait and see as it goes across the line. This is probably our most bizarre car here. It is a Ferrari 599 GTB Formula Drift car. Yes, 6-liter V12, twin turbos, over 900 horsepower, and it is competing in the Formula Drift World Championship. Well, it was until it burned down in the first run, but for that one run, those few corners, it was competing, and it's actually trying to be very sensible up here, not too much oversteer. At least that's what you're trying for anyway, because as we know, drifting is significantly slower, but it can't help itself when it's specifically designed for that. So trying to go up here sensibly with a minimal oversteer is a bit tricky, but it is going surprisingly well. But a two-wheeled action there, and some counter steering. That's not what you want. But the Ferrari is surprisingly good. I'm very impressed with it. It's handling these corners a lot better than I would have thought for a car that's meant to be going sideways everywhere. Maybe it should be the 599 GTB race car, not the drift car. This thing is very fast. As long as you can't get that 900 horsepower to the road, it absolutely flies. In fact, really got one more corner to go. He's very quick through there, and he is running across the line. We have our most powerful car here, our second most powerful car ever. A 1932 Ford, nicknamed Double Down. It's got all-wheel drive, full racing slicks. Oh, and 1,800 horsepower. Which means those all-wheel drive racing slicks don't really do much. This thing gets quite a lot of wheel spin, even with that all-wheel drive. It is a monstrous machine, and you really have to manage that throttle. More so than the Formula Drift car, almost as much as the Monaco King Cobra. This thing is insane. The only car more powerful than it is the Rimac, the Concept 2. From last time, this thing is a beast. No aerodynamics, no traction control, no aids, very sideways underneath the gantry as shown by the no traction control. This is a pure driver's car. You kind of strap yourself in with an engine, a driveline, and a steering wheel, and you hope to God you don't crash it too badly. It's all over the road to the switchback, hairpin, chicane, whatever it is. We only got one more section to go though. Cross the bridge very fast actually, and then you get on that power across the line very quickly indeed. Continuing on with the bizarreness factor, almost as bizarre as the 32 Ford, the Transit Supervan 3. This is based on a Le Mans chassis, the C100, and it has a Formula 1 V8 in it from Cosworth. All put in a fiberglass body vaguely resembling a Transit. Yes, this is absolutely mental, this machine. Over 600 horsepower, top speed rumored to be 200 miles an hour. And it's basically a Formula 1 car mixed with a Le Mans car underneath. So it is absolutely flying up these hills, although it is 90s technology. So it's not quite the same space age stuff we have today. So I'm curious how it's going to compare to that ID.R given the 20-year age difference in these vehicles. Almost 30 years, in fact, age difference between these vehicles. But it is already on the downhill. We only have to go through the switchback here, watch the cobblestone walls, and watch the actual rock walls too. Very fast through that section, nearly flat out through there, just flat out through the bridge, a little bit of a lift. Make sure he gets around the corner nicely as he uses that Formula 1 engine across the line. Second place is an interesting one. We all scoffed when someone entered a Renault Clio into this mix, but no one was scoffing in that qualifying time. Qualified second on the heats. That is ridiculous speed. All-wheel drive, 700 horsepower. Crazy aero kit. This thing is insane, this Clio hill climb. It is absolutely mental. We all laughed at it. It looks ridiculous, but it is so fast. The grip is stupendous as we're already going up the really technical section here. No oversteer at all. Those tires are just gripping on the road like Velcro. That is comical. I don't know what's a better word to describe it. It's already underneath the gantry. The Clio is going like a bat out of hell. This is a remarkable showing. If it qualified sub 110 in its qualifying run, so can it go even faster than a 109? That would be a turn up for the books, a hatchback going faster than most race cars. That is very fast on the final corner, and that is a quick run across the line. Wow. And the fastest car of the day would go to a familiar sight, the Aston Martin Vulcan, but this is a special one, the AMR Pro version, because if the normal Vulcan was not enough for you, you could go back to Aston Martin, they will give you an even more track-focused race car. It's mental. It has way more downforce. I think it has the same amount of power, but it is a bit lighter, and it has much better handling. So let's see how it compares to the other Vulcan that already ran up here, the normal one. And it is quick, it's going up those hills nicely. Rear-wheel drive with those 800 plus horsepower is quite tricky, and the downforce does not work well at low speed, so you gotta have that mechanical grip and that traction to really get out of the line, and that's where it might struggle against the ID.R. This has a lot more power, but it's rear-wheel drive and it's not electric, so that wheel spin can cause an issue. But it doesn't seem to care one bit. That's very fast through there. Just a little bit on the brakes to make sure it doesn't get any understeer in that corner. We're already on the downhill section, flying past the stone walls, not hitting anything. Very clean through there. That's a lot of speed. He clips the wall on the inside and then costs him too much time. He's really running this one close to everything. It was very close to the fence, and he is across the line for the Vulcan AMR. And it would be the Vulcan AMR Pro that would claim the victory today. A 108.8. It shaved almost a second off its qualifying time. That is some serious speed. Second place, though, is even more surprising. The Renault Clio, a crazy, monstrous one, set a scorching time of 1 minute 9.1. That is stupid fast. That is 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds faster than a Formula 1 powered van. That is absurd. The Custa 32 Ford did very well for being, 1,800 horsepower of fury. The fastest rally car would go to the Hoonigan Escort, beating out the Shelby Monaco. Much better time, improved by 12 seconds from its qualifying run. Very, very impressive on that one. Once you could get that power down, then it was all good. You'd use that acceleration, and it was so light. That's where it made up its time, undoubtedly. Faster than the likes of the Porsche 917, Pink Pig, and the Ferrari 599 drift car, which actually went 0.4 of a second slower in its qualifying time than its actual time, but that's just how it works sometimes, unfortunately. Sometimes you don't get the best run. The LFA does well to get 9th with a 122.5, considering it's on street tires and weighs by far the heaviest of the bunch. And unfortunately, the two rally cars would be at the bottom of the table, with the Group B Starion and the Group A Pulsar taking 10th and 11th respectively. Although, considering how far down they are on power, the Pulsar is 6 times less powerful than the Ford, the 32 Custom. That was quite a good showing, I would argue, getting sub-25s. Very, very respectable for those cars. And yet, the challenge still remains. Nothing can beat the ID.R, so that begs the question, can anything can? So that begs the question, can anything beat that mighty electric hill climb car? Well, we'll just have to wait until the newest updates release cars and see what happens.